Clapperboard, the lost resort of Okinawa. The true story of Nakagusuku Hotel Ruins. Deep in the forested hills of central Okinawa, Japan, there stands a massive concrete structure slowly being consumed by vines, humidity, and time. It does not look like a temple, and it does not look like a modern building. It looks like something in between, a place that was never allowed to finish becoming what it was meant to be. This is the story of the Nakagusuku Hotel Ruins. A story not of ghosts or curses, but of ambition, economic collapse, and a development dream that ended mid-construction. Desert Island Chapter 1, Okinawa in Transformation. To understand this abandoned structure, we must first understand Okinawa during the early 1970s. After decades under U.S. administration following World War II, Okinawa was officially returned to Japan in 1972. This moment triggered a major wave of national redevelopment. The Japanese government and private investors saw Okinawa as a future tourism hub, an island paradise similar to Hawaii. Hotels, resorts, and commercial developments began emerging across coastal and hillside regions. It was a time of optimism, speculation, and rapid construction. In this environment, large-scale resort projects were encouraged, even those built in difficult terrain. One such project would eventually become the Nakagusuku Hotel. Building Construction Chapter 2, The Dream of a Hillside Luxury Hotel. The chosen site in Nakagusuku offered something rare, elevation and ocean visibility. From the hilltop, one could see vast stretches of the Pacific Ocean, surrounded by dense subtropical forest. Developers envisioned a luxury resort that would combine natural beauty with modern architecture. The original concept included multi-level hotel buildings integrated into the hillside, large panoramic guest rooms facing the ocean, open terraces for sightseeing and leisure, restaurant and recreational spaces. A design that emphasized concrete modernism and structural scale. The goal was to create a landmark destination hotel, something that would attract international tourism and symbolize Okinawa's new economic future. Construction began with high expectations and strong investor confidence. Gear Chapter 3, Building on Difficult Ground. From the beginning, the project faced logistical challenges. The hotel site was not flat land, it was a steep, forested hillside. This meant transporting heavy materials was slow and expensive. Roads had to be reinforced for construction vehicles. Rain and humidity regularly disrupted progress. Excavation and foundation work required additional structural support. Despite these challenges, construction advanced steadily in the early phase. Concrete pillars rose from the ground. Staircases and corridors began forming. The structure slowly expanded upward and outward across the hillside. For a brief moment, the project looked unstoppable. But that moment did not last. Chart Decreasing Chapter 4, The Financial Breakdown. As construction continued, costs began to exceed initial estimates. This was not uncommon for large resort developments in difficult terrain, but in this case, the financial gap widened quickly. Key issues included rising material and labor costs, unexpected engineering modifications, delays caused by weather and terrain instability, increasing pressure on investors to continue funding. The project depended heavily on sustained financial backing. When investor confidence weakened, funding began to slow. Eventually, the financial structure supporting the project collapsed entirely. And at that moment, construction stopped. Brick Chapter 5, The Abandonment. The shutdown was sudden and incomplete. There was no final construction milestone, no opening date, and no transition into operation. Instead, the site was simply left behind in a partially completed state. What remained included bare concrete frames of hotel wings, staircases leading to unfinished floors, open corridors with no walls or windows, structural pillars exposed to weather, rooms that existed only as empty outlines. Workers gradually left the site. Construction equipment was removed where possible. But the structure itself remained, unfinished and silent. It was no longer a project. It was an abandoned shell. Chapter 6, The Slow Return to Nature. Once abandoned, the building was exposed to Okinawa's powerful natural environment. The island's subtropical climate is extremely aggressive toward concrete structures. Over time, moss spread across surfaces. Vines wrapped around pillars and staircases. Rainwater accumulated inside rooms. Vegetation began growing through cracks in the structure. Trees slowly emerged from abandoned foundations. The hotel began to lose its industrial identity. Instead of looking like a construction site, it started to resemble a ruin shaped by nature itself. The forest did not destroy the building quickly. It absorbed it slowly. Chapter 7, Human Perception and Urban Legends. As years passed, the abandoned structure became known to locals and eventually to urban explorers. Without official information or development activity, stories began to form around it. Visitors often described the environment in emotional rather than factual terms. A strong sense of silence inside the structure. Confusing spatial layout due to unfinished design. Echoes created by empty concrete corridors. An unsettling feeling of paused time. These experiences contributed to the building's reputation as mysterious. However, it is important to note that there is no verified evidence of paranormal activity associated with the site. Most stories are based on perception, environmental effects, and internet-era storytelling. Chapter 8, Why the Site Feels Unnatural. The psychological impact of the Nakagusuku Hotel Ruins is real, even without myths. The structure creates discomfort because it is incomplete. Human perception is sensitive to unfinished environments. The brain expects completed rooms, defined purposes, clear exits and pathways. Instead, the site offers rooms without function, staircases leading nowhere, open spaces without closure. This mismatch between expectation and reality creates a strong emotional response in visitors. It is not fear of the unknown. It is discomfort from unfinished intention. Chapter 9, The Site Today. Today, Nakagusuku Hotel Ruins remains one of Okinawa's most recognizable abandoned structures. Although access is restricted due to safety concerns, it continues to attract attention from photographers, researchers, and urban exploration communities. What remains visible today reflects its original design. Large-scale hotel layout planning. Structural frameworks intended for multiple floors. Open concrete platforms overlooking the forest. Stairways and corridors frozen in construction stage. The structure has not collapsed into ruins in the traditional sense. Instead, it exists in a suspended state between construction and decay. Clapperboard Final Chapter, A Dream Interrupted. The Nakagusuku Hotel Ruins are not a story of mystery or myth. They are a record of ambition that exceeded its limits. A real estate vision built during Okinawa's development boom. A project that began with optimism and ended with financial collapse. And a structure that was never completed, not because it failed suddenly, but because it was stopped before it could finish becoming what it was meant to be. Today, it stands quietly in the forest. Not as a finished hotel. Not as a fully collapsed ruin. But as something far more unusual. A dream that was never allowed to reach its final form.